Hello, crafty friends, and welcome to my channel. If you're just starting out with your watercolor journey, join me as we paint this absolutely gorgeous swan birthday card using easy and relaxing watercoloring techniques. Well, before we dive into that beautiful watercoloring, let's start with some stamping to build our seed and add a sentiment. I'll be using the Graceful Swans stamp set by Simon's Stamp, which was part of their latest Sugar and Spice release. I absolutely love the vintagey details on these images, and the set includes sentiments that are perfect for birthdays, thank yous, and one that says, "May your heart be filled with peace," which is just beautiful. For my card today, I'll be using that big bridge you see there and two of those swans along with the birthday sentiment. The watercolor papers that I'm going to use today is this one from Your Paper Insider. Now I have the 8.5 by 11-inch pack. I have 50 sheets here, and I like to have panels ready to go. This is an A2 size panel. The paper here is cold press with a nice bit of texture, which helps it absorb more water and paint evenly, perfect for creating smooth washes of color. It's also super forgiving for beginners like me, especially if you tend to go a little overboard with the water like I do sometimes. I'll start by placing my watercolor panel onto the Altenew stamp wheel. I've trimmed the paper down to 4 by 5 and quarter inches, which is slightly smaller than a standard A2 size card base. To help with the alignment, I'm using the grid transparency sheet over my panel. That way I can position my sentiment and the images perfectly. I began by placing the bridge image towards the lower half of the panel, leaving enough space for my sentiment at the top. Then I chose two of those smaller swans to stamp just below my bridge. I'll admit arranging the images took a little bit of time because I wanted everything to fit in nicely within the panel without looking too crowded. I also wanted to make sure that my sentiment was centered and had enough breathing room on the upper half of the design. Once I was happy with the placement of all the images, I closed the lid of the stamp wheel to pick them up. Now, I decided to heat emboss these, so before inking, I brushed my anti-static powder tool over the entire panel. This helps make sure that the embossing powder only sticks where it should on the stamped areas. Then I stamped the images twice using VersaFine Onyx Black ink to get a nice crisp impression. To remove the paper from the ultra sticky mat after all the stamping was done, I like to use a pointy tool to gently lift the panel from the edge of the paper. This usually prevents bending or warping of the paper. Then I sprinkle clear embossing powder over the stamped image. I like to lightly tap the powder over the design before pouring it off the excess. This helps the powder stick evenly, especially on those fine, detailed lines. Finally, I heat set the embossing powder. Make sure that your heat gun is nice and hot before you start and keep it moving to avoid warping of the paper. Well, this watercolor paper is thicker than your regular cardstock, so it holds up really well. But I still like to follow the same precautions I would when embossing and heat setting on regular cardstock. After heat embossing, I like to give the panel a few minutes to rest before adding any color. I do this even when I'm ink blending. It just helps everything set nicely. While the panel was cooling, I gathered all my supplies. I also sketched a light pencil line along the edge of the bridge to mark where the water ends and the sky begins. It's a very faint line, but it really helps guide the painting process. Here I have a little palette of watercolor samples from different companies. These were actually sent to me by my dear friend Cindy when I first started exploring watercolors. I will have links to all of those companies down in the description box below and their Amazon links as well. I also got a few brushes, a cup of clean water, and a microfiber cloth ready to go. Now, for watercoloring for me, there's really no set rule on how I'm coloring this panel today. I just wanted to have some fun with it and keeping things simple and relaxed. All I'm going to do is add some blue tones to the water and a very light wash of the same color to create a soft, peaceful sky. Well, I had already swatched all of the colors on a piece of watercolor paper and attached it to the lid of my palette. But just to be sure that I'm using the right shade of blue, I like to test it again on a scrap piece of watercolor paper before starting any of that coloring. That way, I know exactly what color I'm looking for. I like to keep this little strip of scrap paper handy because you can also blend other colors over it just to see how that color combination would look. Now, there are two main ways I like to use watercolors. One is painting on wet background and other is applying to a dry background and then blending it out with water. Usually, if I'm working with a single color across the entire panel, I'll go ahead and wet the surface before adding any kind of paint. I would like spritz some water from my spray bottle on the entire background. But since we have a defined line between the water and the sky here, I decided to start by adding color right along the water line. My brush was loaded with water and just a little bit of blue, and I began gently washing that color across the lower part of the panel to create a soft base for the water. Again, we are not aiming for perfection here, so you don't have to have like harsh lines or clean design. Just like in nature, the water doesn't look the same everywhere. It has variation and movement. So I added a bit more depth in certain areas, especially around the bridge and beneath the swan. For that, I brought in a slightly darker shade of blue to give the water some beautiful dimension and make the scene feel even more natural. Moving on to the sky, I used the same light blue that I used for the first water layer, but this time I had a tiny bit of pigment on my brush for a much lighter wash. All you need to do is add plenty of water and gently blend out the color. Just like with the water, I added a few random soft strokes of blue across the sky, then blended them out with clean water. This gives that beautiful airy look with a clear distinction between the water and the sky. You'd never guess that I use the same exact shade for both the blues. I did go back and forth between painting the water and the sky, adjusting both the areas until I was completely happy with the that I wanted. The sky doesn't appear quite as blue on camera, but in person it looks absolutely beautiful. Next, it was time to color the bridge. For that, I used a shade of brown with a fine pointy paintbrush, a bit different from the larger brush that I was using for the water and sky. Once the bridge was done, I added a touch of green on the foliage around the base of the bridge and then used the slightest amount of light gray to create soft shadows on my swans. Now, again, you'll see I did go back and forth with the water and the foliage. Now, adding shadow to the swans is absolutely optional. If you want to leave them white, do that. But then I thought that slightest bit of gray would look absolutely stunning on them. And of course, I couldn't forget their beaks. For that, I used a hint of orange with my tiniest detailed brush. Once all the main elements were colored in, I took a final look at the panel to see if it needed any small adjustments. I deepened a few areas in the water and added soft touches of color wherever I felt it needed, just a bit more contrast. These little tweaks really help bring the whole scene together and make it look more cohesive. At this point, I was really happy with how the watercoloring turned out. It's soft, simple, and perfectly balanced for this serene swan scene. With the main panel complete, it was time to assemble it onto a card front. I decided to foam mount it onto a top folding card base for a little dimension. Now, for this card, I wanted to keep things really clean and simple, no embellishments, sequins, glitter, or extra shine. That's definitely unusual for me since you know how much I love adding sparkle on my projects. But for this project, I wanted the focus to stay entirely on that beautiful scene and the soft, gentle watercoloring. Sometimes less really is more. I hope you enjoyed watching today's video and that it inspired you to pull out your watercolors and create something beautiful of your own. All the supplies that I used today are listed down in the description box below. Please note that all of those links are affiliate links, which means that if you shop using one of my links, I'll get a small commission at no cost to you guys. Thank you again for joining me today. Until next time, stay safe.